Good evening, fellas. Welcome to our week 5 of our uh, transformation program. I'm going to say to those that are not on the call, don't forget to go to Amazon and buy Masonic Maturity Through Scripture. I know that you think that might mean you have to be a Mason. However, it does not. This book attacks, approaches, and guides you through the acquisition of mental toughness and to your purpose. Now, this book is for the Mason because this shows where you can get biblical validation for your large teachings. Last week, we talked about time. So, what I would like for you brothers to do is give me a little information about how your last week affected your performance over the past week. We talked about time, and hopefully you remember we said you got to make the best use of it because the days are evil. Everything has a season, a time for every matter under heaven, and you walk in wisdom out towards others, making the best use of time. So, how have you spent your time, or have you had to adjust your time over the past week? We're listening.
Well, me personally, I don't think I adjust my time. I think my time is adjusted for me. I just manage within it, because I get up, go to work. After I get off work, I head straight to school. And then after school, I'll come home, try to play with my little girl for as long as I can. Either she fall asleep or I fall asleep.
Okay.
Either of the two. And then
Okay.
pretty much wake up and do it again. But I try to at least start my morning off with a morning meditation and a prayer to get me started, to keep me focused throughout the day, because through the hustle and bustle of the day, I do find it hard to make that meditation time. So
Okay.
the morning, the early morning hours is really the best time for me.
Outstanding. Okay. Well, a lot of times we do what I call make busy work. We could be doing something more productive with our time, but we get caught up with something that's trivial or that's not really that's not moving us toward our purpose or our goal.
Yeah.
So, uh, Melvin, how was your week?
Um, my week has been better. I'm basically doing some of the same things that Sheldon's doing. Um, I'm just redirecting things, that I would normally, if I'm normally watch TV, I'm trying to do some studying. If I'm uh, taking a break, I'm trying to mix some studying in there. Um, and among the other things that are going on, because life is always busy. There's always things that you got to do, that need to be done. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to mix something in that uh, I should be doing. I'm trying to pray at least. Well, I am praying at least 2 times a day,
Okay.
and um, I'm making an effort to pray about 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay.
Um, and again, like I said last time, I'm making an effort to stay on task more.
That's
If I have something that I need to do, I'm making an effort to. continue doing it.
That's it. Okay. Brother, how about yourself? You're a busy young man.
Yeah, coming off of that, volunteering at my son's camp, came back to Dallas. Uh, that first 48 hours or whatever, I didn't sleep. I only slept 8 hours out of the 40. Just for various reasons, just trying to get back on to the night schedule. So, this today is my off day. Tuesday is my off day. Uh, during the daytime, so I've just been really recovering. I still went to the gym today. As far as managing time, I haven't been able to, um, like manipulate wise and uh time wise. I'm coming up to the end of a waiting period, which is waiting on my level 3 armed security license. So, found out that I got approved on the 21st.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. So it's really just felt like I just been waiting on that. Just kind of, I guess, how you describe it? Like if you were on a boat and you just making sure you're going north until you get to the island you're going to. And so I'm at the island. So now it's time to exploit the opportunities with the level 3 situation. I want to get back into the gig economy and then, you know, just kind of have my freedom to make money as a 1099 contractor with security. So I figured out the security thing is, you know, that's my job. Life insurance is a side hustle, and the music and social media is just hobbies that may make money. So um, yeah, so we'll
Okay.
see.
So you're saying to us you've identified a focus,
Hmm.
a passion.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like a winner. That's what we need to know what direction we're heading into. I'm a proponent for multiple streams of income, but only after you have a solid stream. In other words, it's hard to duplicate or multiply a little, you know. So if you got one solid stream, then it's much easier for you to get something else going. This week we're talking about boring, redundant tasks. Boring every time is the way it's is the title of this week's discussion. Being boring every time. Now, why do I say that? It says real change looks boring because you have to do the same thing over and over and over again. Repetitious repetition pays off. I've said if you go outside with a ball peen hammer and just start hitting your house, okay, eventually you can knock that whole house down. But you got to be consistent, just hitting it, okay? It's been said that if you do 1% more at the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better just by doing 1% more.
Agree.
So a lot of times, as I said earlier, we want to get tied up with, we do get tied up with make busy work. I was telling my grandson few months ago, everything we think, say, and do either adds or subtracts to us. Now, hopefully by now you're zeroing in on your passion and your focus, your objective. And if that's the case, then whatever you do should lead you in that direction. If you haven't identified your passion, then you need to double down on that. But definitely You want to stay focused on where you are going. I heard one guy say, if you don't know where you're going, God can't even tell you how to get there. Does that make sense?
Do that.
Yes.
So you got to tell him where you want to go. Galatians 6:9 says, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Have you all experienced that in anything?
Yes.
In life, sports, business, or what?
Well, in the business that we're in, I've experienced it. You know, just not giving up, being dogmatic about um, doing it, doing what I should be doing, just taking small steps. I've seen success, and yeah, I've seen it in other things too. Of course, I've seen it in sports. A lot of people know that I played ball, and I played professionally, uh, and I hated practice. That was something that you know, in two days, I hated with a passion. You know, so boring is absolutely right. That's but it was the practice that prepared me for the game, and it's the phone calls that I do on a daily basis and the introductions that I do on a daily basis that put me in front of customers that allowed me to make sales. So um, success, some of the parts of success are boring. That's that's the way it is. I've never thought of it that way though.
Well, you gotta, once you know, then you can control,
Hmm.
you know. What about you, Brother Hunter?
What was the prompt again?
Do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you will reap if you do not give up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very resilient person, so I think everything. Well, most of my perception is in life is that I see a lot of dark things in the world, a lot of like truths that are unfair. So for me, it's just like I don't like how any of this stuff is set up, but it's not up to me. So I just got to keep going until things get better, or I make a small change in my environment. So I just have a lot of hope and faith that things will turn out. But other than that, most people don't show me that things are getting any better. So
Yeah, I think what he was saying was is that um, when you go to work and you do the things that you have to do to be successful, that those things are monotonous, and repetitive in nature,
mm,
and those things are boring by nature. You know, and if you're in the insurance business, the things that you're doing, I know, are boring as hell.
well,
You know,
I was a yeoman. I was a yeoman in the Navy, right? And a lot of the guys that worked on the flight deck or load the bombs on the jets, you know, they'd always be like, "Yeah, you guys are just a paper." I ain't gonna say what they say, but a paper B word. I'm like, okay. So sometimes they would, you know, try to finesse their way off the flight deck and come work at admin, and they couldn't take it. You know, I don't look at paperwork as boring so much because I know, you know, the work wise. But for me, it's more the people at the job that that you got to deal with. But that's when my job, I'm kind of outside, so I'm kind of cheating. But for me, yeah, it's more the people. lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, or just unwillingness to be aware of things. So just a lot of patience dealing with people that ain't really trying to. I presented a CIA document to two of my coworkers. It was just 30 pages. And when I said it's 30 pages, they was like, 30 pages? I'm not reading no 30 pages. I'm like, y'all serious? You can't read 30 pages? Like, like this information might change your life. And if it's just 30 pages you can't read. So that's it. It's seeing more in people than what they can see in themselves, you know? So, but as far as the redundant thing, I call it a rhythm, and I love it. I love being in a rhythm because my life is more predictable. So, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Brother Shelvin, what's your take on it?
Yeah. I deal with the boredom every night at school. I ain't even gonna lie to you. We sit up there and listen to lectures and go over processes that most of them I already know. And I'll be sitting in the class and I'll just be looking and I'll be like, man, I'll be glad when he get done talking. But what I've come to learn about that, for some odd reason, some of the stuff that he may talk about the previous night, it pops up on the job the next day. And it's like, well, I know the answer to this. Well, hey, why don't we do this? That way this here will work out like that. And it's, I don't want to say it's, I'm glad to know the knowledge. But then, you got sometimes people think you're a smart ass when you got them, and it's really not that you're trying to be a smart ass. It's, man, if you know it, you know it. But at
Yeah,
certain times, I feel like, and I really hate to bring race into it. I really feel like sometimes, man, they think black men aren't supposed to know things like that. Like, hey, where did you learn that at? How'd you find that out? And I just, I take it on the chin and keep it pushing. But I don't like boringness, but I appreciate the calmness, if that makes sense.
yeah,
I understand that, hey, to get to my goal, some things are going to be boring. I
that's
just,
it.
like Graham just said a little while ago, man, you got to be consistent.
Yeah,
And I feel as long as I'm consistent and I show up, something's going to happen.
It's do you think it's too difficult for some people or many people to show up and be consistent with boring tasks?
Do you
I
think it's
mean, the world is always looking for excitement and hoopla.
right?
It's a chemical imbalance.
You think it's chemical or just indoctrination?
There's a term I just learned about. It's called homeostasis. Have you ever heard of that?
Which which psychiatrist or psychotherapist came up with that?
It's in the DSM-5. Maybe I don't know, but it's basically when the cortisol and the serotonin and all the nice drugs that circulate in your brain are at their correct states. So, how do I describe this? You ever get on the phone, not to bring race into it, but you ever get on the phone with a 45-year-old white man who has his all his affairs in order. He has wife, his kids might be in college, is paid for. He's just about to retire. He's done everything right, right? Like the tone in his voice, right? It's like, yeah, man, hey, how you doing? I'm going golfing this weekend. Got my tax meeting, board meeting. No, no, no. How about you? It's very, So that's what I mean. Like, it's like, there's certain traits you can catch on people. Like, okay, but uh, I don't know. So difference between that and like I can't sit still because I'm not trying to read 30 pages. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of the difference in like some is like, oh, I need to be stimulated by sports,
Right,
some visual
right.
by butt on Instagram or something like that, or vice just sitting down and actually reading a book, which technically generates more like of that feel good chemical like while you reading it anyway. It's I think it's like more stimulating than watching a movie or something like that. Reading is so. mm,
But we've been indoctrinated to enjoy those things. You know,
yeah,
we if you notice, um, back in Mr. Melvin time and Grand time, parents push for kids to read a book. Hey, go read your book. Hey, go do this because reading a book, it elevates the mind, but it also creates the mind as an like imagination because when you start reading a book, you start putting places and things inside this book that you can't even see, but in your mind, you got live, biblical
yeah.
uh, imagination, images and stuff in your head. Or okay, this what this person here look like. Oh, this what kind of sword he got. Oh, this what kind of rope he's. And your mind generates that, and it creates more imagination of the mind, and it helps your mind grow. And I think with the AI, the computers, the video games, and everything, it takes away because guess what? It's right there already.
There's still room. There's still room. Like in video game, it's like I say. I agree with you. They like it's like the ominous day indoctrinated us. But there's something I heard. From a therapist online. He said, we actually allowed. How do I say this? Okay, we know America's a capitalist society, so they're gonna push for what's making money. So if all of us are watching Maury Povich for 20 years and all of us are watching Jerry Springer for 20 years, well, that's where we're gonna put our money at. That's what they'll say. That's what you people want to watch. So that's what we're gonna keep pushing.
But
But
you ever
what should you be doing? Because
What? What?
Dennis Springer and the other one
I
benefit
always
your
hated it.
mind.
I always hated Jordans. I always hated Jerry Springer. I'm like, why are we watching this? Like this is terrible. But I mean, I also didn't mind getting called weird for being reading comic books and drawing Dragon Ball Z characters growing up. I never felt like what you mad at me because I'm not stupid. Okay.
you can
Okay.
you can take the Kardashians. The
Yeah,
Kardashians
exactly.
she came
Perfect.
off a sex tape now, and got a reality TV show, clothing lines, perfume, whatever, all that other stuff she got going on. She blew up off a sex tape.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't
So,
know if this
And a big
information
butt.
is relevant, but her mom put that out,
what,
just as a side fact. But
no, but I'm just saying though. But look what they use to grow their wealth.
mhm.
And if you look at today's society, that's really what's said. Because if you look at it, all the women walk around here half naked, so you don't have nothing to the imagination. You
Well,
see,
but let's go back to wealth because it's been stated and proven if a person, regular Joe Blow, win the lottery, in little or no time, he's going to be broke again.
that's
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have
Why
no
is
money
that?
because he
Because
doesn't have money management skills.
his
And what?
mindset. Oh,
Go ahead.
his mind. We just talked about this at the office at PHP. Um, the reason why that is because uh, I put oh, the reason why that is because once again the state of his mind is at a $10,000 a month income. So when he gets $7 million, he's still gonna spend. He's still gonna like have that scarcity spending. Like I have to buy this now because I don't know the next time I'm gonna be able to buy it.
How do you
So,
change that?
huh? How do you change your habits? Like I'll put it like this: people. I always hate when people start their New Year's resolution of going to the gym after New Year's. No, you should have been going in October. So by the time you huh?
How do you change that broke man's mentality to the point where you can manage millions of dollars?
Through habits. That's why I was like that through habits. So you start the habit of going to the gym
How
in
do you
October.
change your habits?
Education.
Consistency. Like
Consistency.
is
You have
that's
to
yeah.
you have to do something for
Yep.
21 days in a row, from what I understand,
To
to
break
Or
it.
make it
not
a
or
habit.
not do something.
Right. For 21 days in a row to make it a habit.
But
So
it's called education, as Sheldon said.
I mean you can
Okay,
learn
and
about
you mentioned something about watching video games or whatever you were starting to say, because that's where the society is going, and audio books and all that kind of good stuff.
yeah.
But how do you really learn? How do you really get your mind? First of all, I was told or read that the mind does not work off of words on a page. It takes the words off the page and creates pictures. Okay? So when you say Chevrolet, somebody might think of Malibu, somebody else is going to picture a Silverado truck. Okay? But that's Chevrolet. Now, yes, they can spell it, but the bottom line is the mind works off of pictures. So that being the case, when you're talking about audio books and uh, these games kids are playing or actually grown men are playing, are they really educating themselves, as I like to say? Are they strengthening their mental tool?
I mean motor functions, that's the best thing I could say.
I didn't ask you about motor functions. I asked you about the mental functions.
I mean the nervous like I'm I, I'm answering I'm answering truthfully. Like yes, there is motor function wise, even going to the VR headsets. That's why they are incorporating VR headsets and
Hmm.
simulating learning into school systems. Even pilots, they use simulators. I've been into one, you know.
Yeah, as a
So
matter of fact, let me add something. I got an in-law that's in the military, and all he does is fly drones, and he flies drones, and basically a video game.
How did he learn?
mhm.
Education.
Yeah, he definitely ain't no way he
Listen,
got
let's
that
go back.
video.
Let's see, the bottom line is you're looking at the end result. Let's go back to the foundation.
You had to get educated about it.
Exactly. Exactly. But now, if I give you a book, first thing you want is where is it available? Okay? But you got to know how to read in order to fly the drone, to handle to be a pilot. They had to go through school and be educated. Now, yes, some things you can teach uh, hands-on or whatever the case may be. But I submit this to you. If you do not know the principles of what you're doing, you're going to fail. So you got to learn the principles. And
That's
the best way to learn them
that's funny
is,
you said that.
huh?
That's funny you said that, Greg, because I was speaking to one of the counselors at school, and she's supposed to be like helping with the welding and all this other stuff. And I was going through there because I was like, hey, I don't need but like three classes to get all my 60 credits and graduate and everything. And she was like, well, you have to take this other course. I think it was SMAW welding. It's like stick welding or whatever. And I say, ma'am, I'm in college. I'm not at the beginner's level. And she's like, what do you mean? I say, every institution of welding starts you off with learning how to stick weld. That is the basic principle to learning how to weld. Now, if you think I'm in college and I need to go all the way back and learn how to stick well, we need to reevaluate the situation. And she was like, well, I don't know anything about it. But you're not educated. So they put you in this position and you're not educated on the actual principle and courses that are needed for students, but you're the counselor. And I'm like, come on now. I said, well, hey, I need to talk to somebody else because you're losing me. And that's the thing is sometimes we are illiterate. And when I say illiterate, that means you just don't know about that subject. It don't necessarily mean you're all the way illiterate.
Right.
You can be illiterate to computers. You can be illiterate to writing. You can be illiterate to a lot of things.
You know, a lot of this stuff that kids are learning today, and we're jumping on the bandwagon with the AI and all that kind of good stuff. It takes away our uh,
Cognitive.
critical
Auto-
thinking, decision
Autonomy.
making. Okay, it hurts our vocabulary. It affects your focus because see, when I have to read something, I have to focus on what I'm reading.
But don't you read the AI responses though?
Come on, brother. Yes,
But
I
you
do. Yes, I do. But I don't want to go to AI for everything.
You're right.
Because, okay, because here's the thing. If I do that, then AI is doing all my thinking for me.
Mhm.
The first time I run into you face to face and you get to talking to me, I got a problem. Hold on a minute, honey. Let me check.
Let me go check my
Let me check my AI. Okay. You know, I mean, the bottom line is, okay, when I was 20s, 30s, whatever the case may be, I had a whole list of phone numbers in my head
and could remember all of them.
and knew who they were. When I started my business in 94, okay, uh, started doing this business in 94, my company in 97, I knew who all my customers were. I knew where they lived. I knew their family structure. I knew everything about them for about 4 or 5 years. And then I messed around and bought a computer. Been a dumb ever since.
Well, that's the same thing as like, okay, so in classes now, they got a lot of generated books that come off the computer and everything. And I'd ask the teacher, I say, hey, we don't have no hard copy books. And he's like, why you want a hard copy book? I say, because I can sit down and read and search for the answer instead of typing it in the computer and the computer goes straight to it. Because there's something vital information that might be in that little paragraph or that section that I might need within the answering of that question. And that's what's missing a lot of times is, hey, what made this paragraph and what made this conclusion to this answer? And it might be in there, but you done missed it because AI did it for you. So when you get in front of the test, now you looking crazy because you like, well, man, I don't remember seeing this.
Well, don't get me wrong. Now, there's good and bad to everything. AI has its place, and it's a very good assistant. But at the same time, you don't want anything to take away your cognitive deciphering, huh?
Your cognitive autonomy.
Exactly.
That's
So, a lot of times we go to church or we listen to a lecture, and it's a topic just for conversation's sake. The preacher's talking about paying tithes, and you go, "Oh man, I heard all that before." Will a man rob God? Yet he's robbed me. How will he rob me? In tithes and offerings, bring all the tithes and offerings into the storehouse. I can say that backwards and forwards. But the bottom line is, if you sit and listen to preacher A preach that, he might point something out that will make the light come on because he gives a different analogy, okay? Or he put emphasis on something that clicks. Plus, you've lived a different to a different time period, so your ability to understand is better. So I'm saying that to say some things you should consider keeping in your repertoire. Reading should be one.
Oh, real quick about the AI thing. I've been using it for like probably like 3 years now. I've been through a lot of iterations of it. It's become more powerful and powerful with the updates. But I will say that I did come to a point where I became self aware of like,
Hey,
okay,
oh,
uh, I need like even right now, I'm this is my second day, I think, not using it. There's some times where I just need to like
go home, Bill.
think for myself. You know what
Are
I
you
mean?
are you are you getting the shakes?
Uh,
Because see,
but I'll put
here's
it to
the
you like
thing.
this.
On the news just day before yesterday, one of them, they talked about the kids that have AI friends.
Yeah,
Okay, come on, man. You don't see anything wrong with that?
I
Oh,
mean,
there's definitely something wrong with that.
I
Okay,
mean,
see, here's the thing. Let's go back to let's go back to this.
okay.
Okay, we are supposed to be able to, because man is the only living creature that have thinking and reasoning abilities. Every other creature operates off of instinct and conditioning.
Mr. Ware, I mean, I was just learning about crocodiles yesterday. They show signs. My dog has, awareness.
You've trained your dog, fella.
I
That dog,
mean, but
that dog does not have thinking ability. He thinks according to how you condition him, and if you let him outside, he's gonna go dig a hole to put his bone. I got a dog out in the backyard. That sucker dug a space, and my wife jumped all over me. I'm thinking he's trying to get out of the yard. But what he was doing is digging up a space so when the sun gets hot, he can lay on the cool ground. Every animal except man operates off of instinct and conditioning. Go to AI and see and prove me wrong. Go to AI. You can ask AI, mother. Is this true? Okay. But man, see, and what I'm saying to you is this: we are allowing the times to take away our thinking and reasoning abilities. Okay? And so in Luke 16:13 says, no servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve, it sums up, God and money. But the bottom line is the same holds true with our condition, reading, and then depending on technology. You gotta make, just like we were talking about your purpose and focusing in on a particular occupation. You gotta have a focus. You gotta have a primary. Now, so I'm saying this, and I'm gonna let you talk. AI is a good backup, but not should not be in front.
yeah, 100%. Um, a my grand view on it is, uh, I give this example like, y'all know who Ray Lewis is, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's my like all time favorite defensive player, right? Uh,
Melvin, were you offensive defense?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I was an All-American nose guard high school my freshman year in college. And then I got switched to offensive tackle. So
Okay.
and
So
then
so you're not
so
a
I
You're not offended when you say this is all.
No, no, I love defense.
Okay.
I love defense. It's
See,
just that I couldn't play defense anymore because my knee.
Norman was on the University of Houston championship team.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So let me. I'll use Mr. Jones for example. Okay, so if we had a time machine and we went back to uh was defensive tackle Jones, right? And I say, hey, I'll give you some cleats and it'll make you run 20 miles per hour faster, right? And we got okay, two separate timelines. We got the regular, the one that did happen, and if I go back and give you the cleats that run 20 miles per hour, right? Which okay, so now the results now for you running 20 miles per hour faster are obvious, right? You're the fastest defensive tackle ever, all that stuff. So my point is, you'd still be the same, right? You'd be the same type of player, but you now have a multiplier for how you play because you can run 20 miles per hour faster. And that's kind of like what AI is, if that makes sense. Like it only amplifies what you already are. So if you're in the tech, so if I'm in finance or if I'm doing budgets, right, and I figure out I can use this AI system to enhance my workflow, or it figures out maybe some area of waste that I'm doing throughout the day. Now I'm more competitive in my certain field because I already got my degree in this situation. I'm already certified, but now I can operate at a higher level outside of my normal level of thinking. So if you keep that in mind, then that's good. But like what you saying, Mr. Ware, you let it take over, that's not so good.
Well, that's what I've been trying to tell you.
Yes, sir.
Because see, the thing about it is this: you youngsters want to go AI all the way. Okay. And so as soon as we ask a question, when you stumped, first of all, dealing with AI, you don't necessarily have good communication skills. Okay. So, second of all, dealing with AI, you might not have as good of a vocabulary as you would if you were reading. And I'm not saying again, I use AI.
Mm,
At the same time, it's an additive, not my main source of fuel.
mm,
I think both of y'all are saying the same thing.
I
Well,
think,
probably so, but you know the thing about it is this: we have to. I believe that we need to focus first and foremost on this gray matter here. Okay, because AI is just like a computer: garbage in, garbage out.
but the mind is the one that created the computer.
So what?
I say the mind is the one that created the computer.
And when I get ready to use it, if I don't ask the question properly,
it's
I'm
gonna
not
give
going to get the
some
proper
lists.
answer. Okay? If I don't put what I need in this computer that I'm looking at you on, right, I'm going to get garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. So the bottom line is I got to do the boring thing, which is read and decipher and do some critical thinking on what I'm reading, what I've read, so that I develop this and I can get more out of AI, more out of my computer.
I think it has to be a balance.
Uh, that's a good thought, but I'm going to go back and say I have to do more of this.
No, I agree. I agree
So I'm
that
not saying a balance.
you're right. I
I'm not
agree.
saying a balance
Y'all okay?
because
So you're not.
if you go for a balance,
Uh huh.
okay, it says anything with I like to say anything with two heads is a freak. So you and the computer fighting against one another. Only one of you gonna be in control. Okay, and again, garbage in, garbage out of the computer. If you don't ask the right question or the question in the right way, you're not going to get the proper answer out of AI. So you got to be in control. You got to be able to think. Don't give up your. Don't give that up.
But that's the way it's set up. If I'm not mistaken, it's set
If
up
you
where
want it to be.
Yeah, you gotta cultivate it to be, I guess, quote unquote righteous. Cause it will. I caught it lying once. I did catch it lying once. I was like, okay,
you called AI lying.
yeah, I
Really?
caught it lying. Yeah.
What was?
Yeah,
I,
well,
Expound on that, please.
oh, so it was like 6 months ago. I forget what it was. But I asked it something, and it was I asked it a question to test it. It was something I knew already, and I said, "Hold on, da 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 da," and then it tried to like, and then I had to get it to admit it did with logic, and I said, "So if you said this and this is this, then didn't you lie?" And it said, "Yeah, I did." Da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, don't do that again.
so what I'm going to tell you is this again. Okay. First of all, the only living creature on earth that can think and reason is man.
Um,
Okay. And yes, you're right, Shelvin. Man created computers. Man developed the AI. However, anytime you give superiority to a machine or technology or whatever, then you giving up your God given place. Okay? So what happens when electricity goes out, the internet goes down for whatever reason? What you gonna do?
Hopefully, you learned enough. Like that's.
Hopefully.
Well,
So let me tell you again. Hopefully, okay. You got to go on. You got to build this growth here. So you are all okay. Hold on a minute. God, dog, y'all making me work hard. Uh, in Genesis, God gave man what?
authority over the creatures of the earth,
Dominion.
dominion.
Nothing that comes on the earth is supposed to be above you.
It's just it's not the above. It's just like I said. It's just cleats that make you run 20 miles, faster.
Okay, you can talk cleats if you want to, but I'm trying to tell you that we grow dependent.
Yeah, yeah, that's not good.
We
No,
grow dependent. We
no.
stop thinking. You ask me how's the weather outside. Instead of me turning around looking out the window, I got to pick up my phone and look at the weather app. Okay, you ask
Yeah.
me how to do something. Instead of you explaining it to me, I'm explaining it to you. I got to Google it and ask AI, how do I do this? Okay. So all I'm saying to you is this: you can't serve two masters, and man was given dominion. And if you're going to be in charge of you, you're going to transform you and be above and not below. You're going to have to build this and let everything else be an assistant to this. Go back to Will Smith's movie, Robots.
Hmm.
You remember that?
I grew up on that stuff.
They had the house robot, and it wound up taking over.
Yeah. Well, nah, they hacked into it, but yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is this: we were given the ability to think, to reason, and to have dominion. This is a 12-week transformation program, and you cannot transform yourself if you're going to give in to technology and machinery.
Man, you trying to make me give up my new
Uh-uh.
gun.
Try to give up your what?
Try to give up my new secret weapon, man.
No, I'm not trying to get you. I'm not trying to get you to give it up, brother Hunter. I just want you to keep it in perspective.
Yes, sir. I understand it. I understand. I'm just being a young man, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
And that's what you need to make sure your son or your grandson is trying to
Mhm.
do too,
Yeah.
because they will not develop their mental faculties
Hmm.
relying
Yeah.
on technology.
I think they'll probably have physical like robots by then, by the time he gets my age.
And
So
so guess what happens?
yeah.
That physical robot gonna tell your son what to do. Okay,
Gonna
how to
do
do it. Okay,
I used to joke, be like, yeah, go this is it's like go do my job, wash my dishes and go sleep with my wife so I don't gotta do nothing.
and your wife falling in love with the robot.
Yeah.
Okay, so the point is to maintain that superiority, that dominion that God gave us. It requires boring tasks. It requires redundancy sometimes. And we got to be willing to do it and not always take the easy way out. Here's where one of a salesman told me 25, 30 years ago, they don't pay much for easy. And that means if they can get a robot to do it, they don't have to pay you as much.
Yeah. And they got robots to drive trucks now,
Yes, sir.
taxis.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Yeah. I kind of feel like you're right. They'll have robots telling people what to do in our lifetime.
What
So,
jobs do you think are secure from
so what?
what jobs are secure from even physical robots?
Sales.
Let me tell you what I did. I went to AI and I asked, what are the top occupations for over the next 10 years? So AI told me carpentry, plumbing, electrical, nursing, and a few others. But they were all blue collar and manual.
You ain't never gonna get rid of nursing because nobody wants to be taken care of by a robot.
Yeah, but I saw on television where they were utilizing a robot in the nursing capacity because
Mm.
I'm trying to develop it. But my point is,
Mm.
those blue collar jobs are less likely, they're going to be here longer than pencil and paper. And even with the blue collar jobs, you're going to have that communications ability. You're going to have that reasoning capability. So um, that's where we stand. That's where we stand. But I mean, I have no idea what it's going to be like when your 7 and 8 year old son and grandson hit your age, 30s, 40s, or 50s. But again, they need to have control of this because if not, as Melvin said, the robots going to tell us what to do. And if we don't do it, what's going to happen?
Mhm.
Robots gonna fire us.
Or whip your butt, lock you up in a closet or something. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know again, what we're supposed to have.
We're supposed to have dominion.
Exactly. Over everything on God's green earth.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what else that includes? Over ourselves. Now, how are we going to do that if we give all power to AI and a computer? Can y'all answer that for me? So we better learn how to think.
Very true.
And we got to learn how to stand steadfast on the basics. Okay? Again, this gives us the basics. We got to stand steadfast on truth, on the word. And the word says, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due seasons we will reap. So you got to be the dominant force in the world. Y'all think about it. We'll talk about it a little bit next week. Okay?
Yeah.
I
Sounds
know.
good.
I know. Look here. Hunter's gotten sad. He's gotten sad. I was shot down all the
Hey, sad.
technology and all.
Uh,
Look at, he just draw. Man,
Oh,
what am I gonna do?
like Eeyore. Oh, my AI. Oh.
It's sad to say that a lot of things that we grow to love, in time we grow to hate. Same thing. It does the same thing. We start off appreciating it and loving it, but then we hate it.
Yeah.
So you got to watch it. You got to maintain some, what's the word? Autonomous?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got to be autonomous. Anonymity or whatever that's called. In other words, you got to keep control of yourself. We started off, I always tell guys the objective is to be in control of your vessel. And why are you in control of your vessel? Because God put you here to benefit others and the kingdom. Okay? So if you were to go forward, be fruitful, multiply, what is the machine going to do?
Nothing but help. A tool.
Help. That's it. Should help.
Mm.
But if you don't watch it, they will take the front seat.
take take over.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, they done had a whole bunch of stories about computers taking over.
But they all start off real good, don't they? The movies.
Oh yeah.
It's one story. It's this last thing. I know we gotta go. It was one story somewhere over in Europe. They had, because ChatGPT is like the public version, but they got the real deal, up in the colleges and stuff. But this was like a biological weapon facility, and they asked the AI to generate, uh, basically to generate different uh, deadly viruses. And in 5 seconds, it came up with 40,000 different strains that would like wipe out humanity in like 5 seconds. So yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a powerful thing. You know what I'm saying? Like anything powerful you put in the human being's hands, it can be addicting.
Yeah. And so, again, we have to make sure that our cognitive skills are developed.
Yeah.
And therein lies this 12-week transformation process we're going to. So we got to start thinking. Anyway, this has been an interesting conversation.
It has.
Um, Next week we'll come up with something different. Okay, but y'all concentrate on that and don't get bored this week and use your time wisely.
Yes,
Read
sir.
something. Read.
Yeah.
Talk to y'all later.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
That's
Bye.
nice.
Good night.